Dr. Tanko, what exactly was happening in there? Your people were there. What's going on?
Alfred, let me put it on record. Whatever was going on there was completely illegal. Completely illegal. The NDC is totally against what was going on there. In fact, we are not lawless political party. The Electoral Commission is fast becoming a lawless institution in Ghana. And we must take a second look at the behavior of these commissioners and other things. They've constituted themselves into some island where they think that they are above the laws of this country. They choose and pick. Now, when we went to High Court on this Mandamus matter, after the Supreme Court referred us back to the High Court, we waited for the trial judge ruling on that fateful Saturday. Something happened. In fact, your reporters were in the court. Something happened during the reading of the ruling by the High Court judge. Clearly, it shows us there was some underdealing somewhere. He eventually brought one ruling for the four set of cases that were filed. There were different cases, but clearly you saw that the ruling he was given, it appeared he wrote one ruling and was going to use the same ruling for all the other incidents. Because they were different matter. Tema Center has a different matter. PAA Center had different issues. Techima South had different Ablekuma North. But virtually the man was reading 62 throughout. Then we got to know that something was wrong with this ruling.
Martin, is it possible?
Is it possible? 62 outstanding. So his orders was that go Electoral Commission, go and deal with this 62 outstanding. Say how? Where from it? Yeah. So it was like the lawyers of the NPP were rather correcting him. And so we were all taken aback and said, this man, where is he getting this ruling from? Completely, he even started laughing. He himself, the judge. He started laughing because we realized that this man came and was having only one ruling. He didn't know what he was doing.
But he called the cases differently.
And so we shocked.
The parties and council differently. And the issues differently.
So how come you have one ruling for them?
Oh, so why do you say there's one ruling?
That is what we are saying. Because the gentleman, when all his orders he was given was virtually based on Ablekuma North. Because like he wrote a ruling for Ablekuma North and then using it for all the other constituencies.
Copy and paste ruling.
So we in fact we suspected that
comments
so that's why I say we said no.
That's why
we are not
I asked you the question whether they called different cases at different times, and you said yes. And he called different parties, and you said yes. He called different council, you said yes. And the rulings were in respect of the different cases, you said yes. So please let's
yes, that's why we are saying that. Honorable, we are saying that if you call a case of Ablekuma North, which has outstanding 62, okay, and the one constituent has outstanding 3, how come you are mentioning that 62. Now you are giving order for Tema Center and you are mentioning 62?
Okay,
that's our problem. So we file an appeal against quickly on that very day, and a stay of execution of that orders, and quickly serve the Electoral Commission. We have prepared ourselves because we suspected that this was what was going to happen. So when we were coming to the court, we had our documentation ready. So as soon as he started reading the ruling, we rushed to the registry to file this.
Let the appeal deal.
So we had the appeal, all right. And then the stay of execution. So because of that, because of that, Alfred,
Dr. Tanko, please
we didn't participate in the processes because we wanted to respect.
I saw your people there.
No, those people who went there were not in court. They were not aware that we had these processes filed.
I see.
These are constituencies.
So you didn't communicate to them?
At the time they went there, that's why you didn't see our candidate. You saw that all the 4 candidates, none of them participated in the process because they signed the affidavit, they deposed to it, so they didn't participate. But suffice it to say, Alfred, what you are just seeing there, we suspected it and we said it time and again. You see, our electoral system is a manual system. We don't do electronic voting, electronic transmission. So anytime we go to collation center, we are looking at the pink sheet itself. So if you bring a resource from a phone or a laptop, nobody is going to take it. We want to always have a hard copy pink sheet. Now, when we went to IPAC, in fact, I represented the party at NDC. On the issue of Ablekuma, before we even went to the court, the NPP told us at that meeting that they don't have any of the pink sheets.
They didn't
We
have
agreed that we
any of
don't have because there was a vandalism and all that. We lost it.
I thought you said they had 25.
That's what I'm coming
soft
to.
copy.
They didn't have. The electoral commission also indicated they also don't have. Then quickly Evans came up and said, no, they have scanned copies. And we said, Evans, you know that we don't deal with scanned copies in this our business. Don't bring matter of scanned copies. Because if you are talking of scanned copies, me, I'm trained in digital designing and all that. I'm a graphic designer, my background as well. I can design a pin sheet using a laptop.
Right.
And I can concoct figures on it and presume that this is a scanned copy of it. So who will accept this kind of thing? So we are not going to deal with any scanned copy. Since you don't have it, tell us the truth, you don't have it, then we'll find an alternative way of finding this resource. So we all agree on it. On the next day that we're going to come, if you don't come with the hard copies, then it means that they don't have any pin sheet.
Right.
Then EC with the commissioners can now deal with it. Then this court matter came, this ruling came, and all of a sudden they arrived there with scanned copies.
I see.
I said they now forced the EC to accept scanned copies because we were not there. Our people were not there. That's why we believe that there was a collusion between EC and MPP to rig the election.
So the recollection that was going on, the recollection that was going on
Yes.
was on the basis of the scanned copies the NPP presented.
Presented.
But the EC at the emergency IPAC meeting prior to this moment,
Yes.
they said they didn't have the pink sheets for
They
Ablekuma
said they didn't have any pink sheets. That they have lost all their pink sheets.
because the pink sheets were destroyed.
Yes, they were destroyed. And so they were
I
now
see.
relying on scanned copies. So all this recollection you are seeing at Ablekuma is based on scanned copies.
Did you raise concerns about this?
No, we raised that at the IPAC.
Okay.
But after the court ruling, we had not participated.
Okay.
So all this thing going on, the NDC did not participate. If
Right.
we were to participate, this kind of thing going on, nothing of that sort would have even surfaced. Because there was no way we were going to allow this thing to happen.
So you're
And then,
on,
so we haven't gone to the veracity of the matter.
Okay.
Because we are still pursuing the matter in court. On Monday, we are going to court.
you're going to
The
go.
good thing is
Yes.
that they are in court.
We are in court.
So let. the
So
court
on
take
Monday,
the
we will appear in court for this stay. And then on 23rd, we are going to Supreme Court. We file another case in Supreme Court to quash the decision of the High Court, the trial judge ruling. Because that ruling was not on the issue as before him. He went into the matter itself. It's like he was ruling on an election petition. It wasn't an election petition. It was
He
mandamus.
was ruling on the mandamus.
On the man, but the ruling, if you look at the content of the ruling, it was like an election petition.
What
The
was
man
that?
went into the veracity of the matter.
What was the content exactly?
The
What was
content, for instance, he was talking of the issue of people marching at the collision center, attacking the people, vandalizing the district.
Is that
I'm
right?
coming. I'm saying we are talking of the ruling. He's asking what was the content. Why we think that the matter borders on election petition, not mandamus.
No, discussing it is
Good.
not short.
And then we say that
As a
fine.
matter of
We
fact.
have difficulties with that.
Already ruling.
If somebody has issues like that and brought a matter, if you look at the affidavit of the electoral commission, it was virtually on this. And that's why they couldn't complete their destiny. And that's why they think that the declarations so made were made under duress and all that. This was his ruling. And we think that that matter can only be dealt under PNDC law 284, subsection 6920. Come with election petition. It's not about mandamus. You don't run on this issue of mandamus to come and force a trial judge a bucket full of lies because he has not been cross-examined. The one who deposed this thing said all this thing happened there. Who has cross-examined him to find out whether it's true that this thing actually happened? So he was like, he's listening to EC, all the lies they heap on him, and then he made a ruling on that. That was our problem with it. And we said that no. So we are far. And we think that it's before the law lost at the Supreme Court on 23rd. You see, the EC, they don't learn from their mistakes. It will be quashed again. They did the same thing and it was quashed. And they went back with the same strategy to get this thing through so that they will collude with the MPP to rig the election.
Well, but as we
That's what
speak,
they did.
well, as we speak, Thomas,
Doc,
Thomas,
will you send the copy?
And
Was it on notice? The mandamus application?
it was on.
It wasn't targeted on it. The mandamus application was targeted at the EC. So
Yes,
we were not part of it.
but the ruling of the Court
Supreme
of
Court.
Appeal or the Supreme
Supreme
Court
Court.
was
That's
for
the
them to join the
Yes, and
NDC.
we joined.
Were you joined?
Yeah, we joined.
Were you served?
We're safe.
Did you respond?
We responded. That's why we went to
So,
them.
yeah, that is why the ruling came. This was not an ex-party application.
That's what
it was on
but
notice.
that's why we also filed.
Yes, so your remedy is to go on appeal. And
that's why
you're on appeal.
Yes.
So let's wait for the appeal to be determined.
While at it, let me
he's
just
explaining.
remind you.
I'm just giving you the background
he's
why
explaining
we are not
exactly.
there, why we didn't participate.
No.
Yes.
No,
Sometimes he's
but
going to areas
I'll-
of content.
I'll
When he says that
bring you
his
in.
ruling was See, you don't.
I'll bring you in because
challenge it
there's
in the
another
appeal.
issue. So essentially, Tanko, with what we saw at the Coalition Center, the Electoral Commission says they suspended this process because a number of the presiding officers say they will not come because they were threatened and so on. While we await the resumption of it, you are in court. So if this process resumes and there's an outcome, what happens to that?
Well, that's why we are saying that we don't even respect whatever they are doing over there. We are totally against it. With all the shenanigans that you've seen over there, clearly, look, the presiding officers themselves, they are exposing the ill intention of the Electoral Commission because these are cooked figures plus manufactured pink sheets. They don't have it. All of a sudden, they went and brought their scan copy. You see, the presiding officer was telling them that this is not mine. I don't know anything about this. We suspected that this is what they were going to do. That is why we seriously objected to what the Electoral Commission was trying to do. Bring scan copies. People will scan things in their offices and bring it. Unfortunately, on their part, their own officer, you see, the returning officer is running away from me because they were forcing him to accept scan copies that he himself cannot authenticate. So based on that, he said, I can't do this work again. Because his conscience was that, why are you forcing me to accept things which I myself can? My people are not authenticating it. Me, I said, I can't authenticate this. You are forcing me to use it to declare an illegal person. That's what they were trying to do, and the man ran away. He said, you can take your job, go and do your declaration. In any case, they did that in Tema Central. You know, the officer who came and declared Tema Central was not the returning officer. In our CI, we don't have any deputy returning officer. That day, they appointed someone as deputy returning officer. He even styled himself as a deputy returning officer. You have not fired the returning officer. He has not been sacked. The man is not dead. He's still alive. Yet, you brought in somebody who called himself a deputy returning officer to declare an MPP person a winner. Because the man said, I won't authenticate these two pink sheets you are forcing me to do. I need the parties to come on the same table so we'll all look at it because there are issues with those two pink sheets. You say, I'm appointing a new deputy returning officer. Come and declare him winner. These are the things they did over there.
So the Tema Central one, you are challenging it as well in court?
Yes, and Ablekuma North, PAA Central, and Techima South. Now, those issues, people were thinking that the numbers, for instance, they say Techima South, some number of polling stations were not part. Ablekuma North, the same thing, and Tema Central, 3 pink sheets were not part. Alfred, they can declare results with that 2 or 3 polling stations.
Okay.
Even if the numbers are, you know the reason. If there is an overvoting in the polling station, no matter what the numbers, it's cancelled. It cannot be added to the one who is following in that. So if a returning officer cancels a polling station because they were overvoting, and you don't go into the veracity of the reason why they were cancelled, they were not part of the declaration. You just sit down and say, 3 polling stations with this huge number of voters in there were not added. If it's added to that, you haven't gone to the pink sheet itself to see the numbers, whether those 3 polling stations overvoting occurred there
or not.
And so these are the things we are saying, that it's only through election petition that matters of this nature can be resolved. So the commissioners constituting some lawyers or some judges and determining some declarations are not correct or some declarations do not follow any procedure and all that. That's the problem, the bane of the issues we have with them. And we are going to follow through the legal process.
So the case will be heard on Monday.
Yes,
on Monday, please.
Yes. I'm happy he ended by saying that they are going to go through the legal process for determination. In fact, that is the right thing to do. So once they are in court, once they have started the process, let us wait for the process to conclude. I want to believe that the reliefs as sought in the court will be addressed when the appropriate evidence is prepared in court. And now that the Supreme Court ruled that the NDC ought to be made parties, they have been made, and they need to also respond to the application. They did. They are also challenging the ruling, which is their right. They go to the Court of Appeal to challenge the ruling. We wait for the Court of Appeal to make a determination pursuant to the filing of all the processes involved. I think we should respect our institutions. Let the ruling come from there. And indeed, if it comes and they are not happy with it, they still have a relief to go through further appeal.
Right.
At the end of the day, we will come to a final determination of this matter.
Thank you.
And then we can proceed
Yes, 30
with the
seconds,
process.
very quick one.
Well, I think, well, the best thing to do is to have the matter resolved in court. But an election official feeling pressurized and saying that he's not going to discharge his mandate and duty again, and saying that electoral commission should come and take their job, he wouldn't do it again. It's worrying. I mean, it creates a deepening.
He was the representative of the electoral commission.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you say you come and take your job,
Yeah.
what does
I have a feeling that he's being compelled or forced to do something against his will or something. And so this tend to deepen the perception that something untoward is being done. And I think